Have you ever stopped to think about the incredible and even frightening things that cameras manage to capture? Sometimes, the unexpected happens right in front of us and, with a bit of luck, someone manages to record it all. Many of these moments are shocking, and some remain a mystery to this day. And that's exactly what you're going to see here today. So go ahead and leave your like, click on the subscribe button below, and let's go. The tragic case of Kelvin Ward is a painful reflection of how knife violence has been spreading, especially among young people in the United Kingdom. Kelvin, a 50-year-old man, lost his life in 2022 after a brutal attack with a large blade known as a zombie knife. This type of weapon, which might look like something out of a horror movie, has become increasingly common among gangs and young individuals seeking some form of protection or status. But in reality, these knives bring nothing but tragedy and pain. The attack took place in front of a KFC restaurant, where Kelvin was with his son. The initial target of the crime was the young man, but it was Kelvin who ended up losing his life. According to the trial, the crime was planned by 3 individuals, Tyrone Hollywood, Leighton Williams, and Aaron Coates, who were chasing Kelvin's son. After a series of collisions with the victim's car, Kelvin, in an attempt to protect his son, ended up being attacked and stabbed until he lost his life. The incident was caught on security cameras, which showed the brutality of the moment. The situation was even more painful for Kelvin's family. His brother, David Ward, described the moment when Kelvin's mother held his hand as he lay on the street. Kelvin's partner, Tammy, stated that the loss was devastating and that they couldn't even say goodbye, being forced to watch the last footage of Kelvin alive. Zombie knives are those large blades with serrated edges, often resembling survival knives, almost always linked to zombie movies and series in which characters gear up to face monstrous creatures. However, in the real world, these knives are used for something very different: urban violence. And the most worrying part is that they have become a symbol within certain gangs. Instead of offering protection, they become a symbol of power, a way to show strength in front of others. It turns into a race to see who has the bigger, sharper, more intimidating knife. In Kelvin's case, he was attacked in a gang context, an environment where these knives are frequently viewed as a necessary accessory to ensure safety or respect. It's not uncommon to see young people walking around armed with such knives. The problem is that most of the time, these weapons are used impulsively and end up causing fatal consequences. Kelvin's case was tragic, but unfortunately not unique. According to the BBC, crimes involving zombie knives and machetes have been growing each year. Only in 2023, more than 14,000 criminal records mentioned these giant blades. They are knives of over 20 centimeters, often with a serrated blade, which can be easily bought on the internet without any identity verification. It's a problem that goes beyond gangs because these knives are accessible to anyone with an online connection. And the saddest part is that many people, like Kelvin, end up being victims of a culture that glamorizes violence. Activist Farron Paul, who started an initiative to collect these weapons, notes that Rambo and zombie knives are the most common he receives, and they are getting bigger and bigger. He has already collected hundreds of these knives, and over the years he has noticed that young people are increasingly drawn to larger, more threatening blades, perhaps as a means of self-protection, but also as a way to stand out in a world where violence has been normalized. This context led to a change in legislation. Since September of 2024, the possession of zombie knives has been banned in England and Wales. That means anyone caught with one of these knives now faces serious consequences, including prison. The government also launched an amnesty program, encouraging people to turn in their weapons to the police without fear of punishment. The case involving a housekeeper who put poison in the family's food caused a huge stir in the Indian community. The woman, who worked in the family's home, decided to poison the food in order to steal. She prepared the meal and, instead of acting in a normal way, added toxic substances to the food, apparently planning for the family to be incapacitated so she could take valuables from the residents. In the footage captured by security cameras, you can see the housekeeper running right after the act, a behavior that makes it clear she intended to flee quickly after the poisoning. Her immediate escape heightened suspicions about her real intentions, as she showed no sign of remorse or regret. Fortunately, the family noticed what was happening in time and was quickly helped, avoiding a tragic outcome. The case showed many people how we need to be very careful with who we allow into our homes, since even someone who seems trustworthy might do something like this. This case is truly unsettling and shows how the sense of security at home can be fragile. The video, which was filmed by a home security camera, shows an intruder sneaking through a couple's house while they slept. The guy, who became known as the Bucktown Creeper, enters the house in the dead of night, moving extremely slowly to avoid making any noise. He stayed for quite a while at the foot of the stairs, almost as if he was spying on the couple who were watching TV-ish. What's worse is that by the time the couple woke up, the intruder was already leaving through the back door, probably through the upstairs balcony, which was unlocked. At first, Jack, one of the residents, was shocked by what he saw in the footage, and he and his girlfriend immediately called the police. When they showed the video to the officers, they were also terrified. Soon, the video went viral in the neighborhood and was shared in a local watchdog group on Facebook. People were very worried, sharing more images of a suspicious guy biking around the area. It seemed like he was checking whether doors were locked. The story got so big that even local media outlets got involved, and it was widely publicized. Although no one knows who this Bucktown Creeper, neighbors started questioning security in the area and how things might be more vulnerable than they thought. It led to a wave of panic in the community, showing how important it is to always stay alert to what's going on around us. This story is both unusual and a bit gross, but it also shows how security cameras are catching everything that happens in our neighborhoods. Here's what happened. A woman was caught on camera urinating at someone's doorstep in the middle of the night. The security footage, which quickly spread online, shows her walking up to the house and, without any concern, doing something many people might have done at some point, but in a far less discreet way. What grabs people's attention is how casual she is about it. She does it with total ease, even though she's in a residential area in front of many houses. Of course, the home's cameras captured everything, and the video ended up all over social media. To make things worse, she seemed completely unconcerned about what she was doing. It's almost like she thought, nobody's going to notice. This'll just take a second. Well, the residents definitely noticed, and now her image is out there on the internet with thousands of views. So be very careful if you ever think of doing something like that. You might just end up on the internet too. In South Africa, a robbery of a delivery truck captured on security cameras revealed the rather unexpected reaction of two employees who were inside the vehicle at the time of the crime. Instead of panicking or trying to fight back, the two workers remained remarkably calm. When the criminals arrived and ordered them to exit the truck, they simply raised their hands, as if they were just making a normal stop. Their calmness stood out sharply against the tension of the situation, making the scene all the more striking. Their manner of getting out of the truck without rushing or showing fear suggests that maybe this kind of occurrence is almost routine for them. In South Africa, vehicle theft is common, and many people face this type of situation almost daily. That's why it's not unusual for workers, particularly those involved in deliveries, to be somewhat used to responding in such a straightforward manner. It's as if the risk of violence is just part of everyday life, something that has to be managed as calmly as possible. This incident highlights not just how serious the security situation is in the country, but also how people are forced to adapt to a reality of violence and crime. The fact that the employees acted so calmly during a robbery shows how normalized violence has become in some regions, and you don't have to look far to see robberies treated as a daily occurrence. Stephen Watterson, the adoptive son of the former British parliamentarian Nigel Watterson, was sentenced to 7.5 years in prison for causing the death of 3-year-old Alfie Lamb in 2018. The case outraged the United Kingdom due to the cruelty of Watterson's actions. During a trip in an Audi, Alfie was placed in the tight space beneath the passenger seat, while his mother, Adrienne Hoare, completely ignored his safety. Annoyed by the boys crying, Watterson moved the electronic seat backward, crushing the child and leaving him only about 9.5 centimeters of space. Alfie lost consciousness and died in the hospital 3 days later from compressive asphyxia. Beyond the cruelty of the act itself, Watterson's behavior afterward showed his cold nature. Instead of helping, he fled the scene, while Hoare lied to the authorities, claiming they had used a taxi. Watterson also threatened and intimidated witnesses, trying to ensure everyone stuck to a made-up story. Alfie's mother was sentenced to 2 years and 9 months in prison for negligence and child cruelty, but Watterson received the harsher sentence, described by the judge as manipulative, threatening, and controlling. Footage from hours before the crime drives home the emotional neglect Alfie went through. You can see the child running in the street so he could keep up with the adults, both on their way out and on their way back from an outing. He clearly had to hurry to follow them, with no proper attention or protection. These scenes, along with the tragic conclusion, show the complete lack of empathy and responsibility on the part of those who were supposed to care for him. The tragedy left deep wounds in Alfie's family, especially his aunt, who helped bring the truth to light and ensure justice was served. One small detail that makes the video even more chilling is how the boy runs to keep up with the adults, both coming and going. It shows there was no affection for him at all. In an abandoned school in Fukushima, Japan, time appears to have stopped in a terrifying way. This place, located in Fukushima, was deserted in a hurry after the earthquake and tsunami on the 11th of March 2011, which devastated the region and triggered the nuclear disaster. The classrooms are still full of the belongings of former students, backpacks, shoes, and documents scattered around as if the kids were going to come back at any moment. On the walls, you can find references to the Heisei period, confirming that the school has been left empty for more than a decade. Many people believe the sudden evacuation gave the environment a unique feel, somewhere between silent and melancholic, making it the perfect setup for ghost stories and supernatural happenings. Pictures from the site show empty corridors, untouched objects, and a strange atmosphere. One particular photo gave people goosebumps, the silhouette of a woman at the end of a hallway. Some think it might be just a trick of the light or an actual person, but others believe it could be something beyond natural explanation. Urban explorers say the place feels frozen in time. Some describe the sensation of being watched, even when alone. This, on top of the site's tragic past, quickly fuels speculation about spiritual presences in the area. Two young women were captured by security cameras in a residential building in Mumbai, India, in an incident that left residents on edge. The footage shows them walking through the corridors in the early hours of the morning, locking doors from the outside and repeatedly ringing doorbells. The most unsettling detail is that one of the doors they locked apparently had someone inside, raising suspicions that it wasn't just a random prank. The combination of these actions led to speculation about their motives, which could range from a bad joke to an attempt at intimidation. The case caught the attention of the authorities, who are now investigating. Meanwhile, the residents are demanding tighter security measures, worried that something like this could happen again. Picture this, two people caught on security cameras in a seemingly intimate moment. Nothing out of the ordinary, right? But what made it so shocking was the claim that they were brother and sister. Yes, siblings. Once the video hit the internet, it spread like wildfire, showing up on various news sites and social media platforms. A lot of people were horrified, while others wondered if this was just another story blown out of proportion for clicks. The truth? Well, nobody has been able to confirm if the people in the video really were related, or if it was all just some twisted rumor to catch everyone's attention. But as usual, the internet spares no one, and it went viral in no time. It raises an important question about how much we believe in everything that pops up online. After all, in this age of information, not everything that goes viral is true. What do you think? Was it really a shocking case of siblings, or just another example of fake news? Japanese pranks are famous for being completely off the wall and sometimes a bit extreme. A perfect example is a prank that went viral, involving an elevator that looked normal but had a very unexpected surprise. In this prank, clueless victims would enter the elevator and, after just a few seconds, the floor would open up, dropping them onto a slide that took them straight to a walkway. The fall was fast and totally out of the blue, which made the prank even funnier. Outside, there were strategically placed cameras capturing every moment of shock and the victims' expressions, which went from sheer terror to laughter when they realized they were safe. The entire setup was carefully planned to ensure nobody got hurt, showing how much effort went into producing this show. The slide led people to a sort of hallway, where they emerged confused but unharmed. It was all done to entertain and surprise, trademarks of Japanese humor, which loves mixing the bizarre with everyday life. In the early hours of the 3rd of March, 2024, something very strange happened on a road in Barangay Gusa, in Cagayan de Oro, in the Philippines. Carl and his girlfriend were traveling on the highway when, out of nowhere, a man appeared crossing their path. They braced for impact, but there was none. To their surprise, when they looked back, the man had simply vanished. The whole thing was recorded by a 360-degree camera installed on the couple's motorcycle, but the footage made everything even more mysterious. The person seemed blurry and had no face, which left them quite shaken. Not only did the incident disrupt their trip, but it also messed with Carl and his girlfriend's peace of mind. After reviewing the footage, Carl realized the man's appearance and movements looked familiar. Later, after talking to some acquaintances, they discovered the description matched an old co-worker named Ikoy. The creepiest part? Ikoy had died 7 months earlier from a heart attack. This story took on an even bigger life when other residents in the area spoke about accidents that happened there, including suicides and unexplainable events. Many already believed the highway was haunted. Some video experts took a look and said it could be camera glitches like motion blur or exposure issues. Still, not everyone bought that explanation, especially those who believe in the supernatural. Before long, even the local church weighed in. Some religious leaders said these could be tricks by evil entities, emphasizing the importance of faith for spiritual protection. In response, Carl and his girlfriend asked the church to bless both their motorcycle and their home, hoping to find some peace and safety. Opinions on the matter are split between skepticism, belief in the supernatural, and technical reasons. But for Carl, the experience left a deep mark, reinforcing the feeling that not everything has a logical explanation. In 2022, 2 Chinese men were caught on security cameras in a tender and affectionate moment, kissing each other in public. The video, which spread like wildfire on social media, caused an uproar, especially because it goes against cultural and social norms in China, where homophobia is still deeply rooted. Chinese society is largely conservative regarding sexuality. Although homosexuality was decriminalized in 1997, prejudice toward LGBTQ+ people remains widespread in many spheres of daily life, especially in more traditional regions. The kiss caught on camera between the 2 men appears to be a secret moment in a place where public displays of affection are rare. It's believed that both could be co-workers engaged in a forbidden undercover relationship, hoping to avoid the disapproval they'd likely face in Chinese society. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this.